Hey, good afternoon. I'm Stefan Kufos with Coker Early & Associates. I'm the managing broker of the Andover office. I'm here with Michael Comerford from Premier Mortgage Lending and Christine Bernardini from Bernardini Law. So the idea here is in the real estate industry with all this COVID that's going on, a lot of people are reaching out to the three of us asking us what's going on with the market. We thought it'd be a great idea if we just took a couple of minutes and look at the Andover, North Andover market and see what's happened in the past couple of months to see how it's affected real estate. And maybe we can answer some of your questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Sound good?
Sounds
All right.
good.
Well, here we go. All right. So when we're looking here, the idea here was to compare April and May of 2019 to April and May of 2020. What we looked at is how many listings went active within those 2 months. All right. So for the month of April and from the month of May together in Andover, last year we had 199 listings. As opposed to this year, we only had 99 listings. So we have about 50% of inventory that we had last year.
Wow.
And yeah, pretty crazy, huh?
Yeah.
A lot less people are feeling comfortable with people going into their homes. So they're not putting them on the market.
Sure.
And then in North Andover, it went from 113 last year to 63 this year. So in Andover, it was 50%, whereas in North Andover, it was 56%. You know?
Wow, big drop.
Yeah, it's a big drop. It's so what it's doing is it's causing a lot of pent up demand.
Sure.
We still have a lot of buyers.
I was going to ask, so you still have buyers that want to go into the houses. It's just the sellers don't want them.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Most buyers, they're okay. You say to Christine, hey, Christine, do you want to look at this house? She says, sure, I'll throw on a mask and gloves. I'm
Right.
happy to go into this house. And the house is Mike's, and we say,
Right.
hey, Mike, we're going to bring 30 people through your house today. Are you
It's a
okay
different
with
story.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want it.
Right.
People touching stuff. So what I did here now was I wanted to see what happened in the month of April and May. So of all those listings that got put on the market, how many of those actually went under agreement within those 2 months?
Right.
Okay.
So it's just giving us the activity. I want to know the action and the reaction of the action that people are taking to put their homes on the market, and the reaction of the people that want to buy is whether or not they're, what's going on.
Yeah.
So I only looked at what's in that 2 month period, April and May.
So listed in that time frame and sold in that time frame.
Right. So obviously for this example, if something, went on the market May 30th, most likely,
Sure.
Didn't go under agreement
Right.
because they just need more than a day.
Right.
But we had to start and stop somewhere, and this is where we went. So when we look at this one, when we look at 2019 in Andover, out of the 199 listings, we had 83 of them went under agreement.
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
So that was 42%. But look what happened this year, 2020. 99 went on the market, and 51 of them went under agreement.
Wow.
So 50%. So that's a better ratio than
Right.
last year.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a better ratio. And then in North Andover, the same thing. From 113, 44 went under agreement, which was 39%. And look at this year. That's a huge jump. From 63 new listings, 42 of them going under agreement.
Yeah, it tells you there's still a ton of qualified buyers that are ready to buy and ready to buy quickly. It's actually interesting numbers to see.
It is. And
Yeah.
the numbers, and we were trying to figure out why. Why is this happening? And we were chatting earlier, and we think we kind of figured it out. So we know that inventory is down roughly 50%. But with what's happened in this economic climate with COVID is people are going on unemployment, but only about 20% unemployment. So when we think about it, we've really lost about 20% of our buyers.
Yep.
But we've lost 50% of our listings. So that ratio.
Yeah, it's still up. It's still up.
Yeah, exactly, because everything is always supply and demand,
Yep.
right?
Right.
So it doesn't matter if we have only 5 listings. Well, if we have 10 buyers, those lucky 5 people are in good shape. And then what I also did was I wanted to see how people were pricing their homes. So this was just the list price. The average list price in Andover last year over this year stayed pretty flat, $738,000 and change to $739,000 and change.
It's interesting that it's that close.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
It's like the same.
It is.
I had to run the numbers.
Right, I would have
Yeah,
double checked
make
it.
sure.
Yeah, double check them.
Yeah.
North Andover seemed to do a little bit better. They had a little bit of a jump. They went from 645 average list price last year to 689. But list price is what people are asking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So it
Not
doesn't
necessarily
tell us
what
the
you're
sale
getting.
price. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But let's see what they're getting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Crazy numbers. So when we look
Wow.
in Andover, The average
Wow,
sale
that's
price.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Look at that.
20%.
20% in Andover and 10% in North Andover. Now, I want to make sure everybody understands, I am not telling you that values have increased 20% or 10% in a year. What I'm telling you is that part of it could be an increase because the supply is low, which is driving cost up.
Right.
So it could be a little bit of that. The other part of that is that it could just be that a more expensive supply of homes happen to go on the
Sure.
market. So I'm not here telling people the real estate market went up 20%. It's a mix of things.
So what you're saying there is it could be just that higher priced homes
Right.
are being sold.
Right. This year
So
there were
people
more
understand
$1 million
that.
homes. This year there
Sure.
were more $1 million homes on the market. Last year there were more $500,000 homes on the market.
Okay.
But sometimes you can read into that and
Right.
see why certain people are making certain moves.
Do you have a thought as to why that is?
Well, I think that the folks that are really thinking about it, they're probably wondering where this is going to go in the future. How long can we sustain? We don't know if we're going to have a second spike in the COVID.
Right.
We just don't know. So I think some people are saying the market's great right now. Inventory is super low. Now's my chance to make my move, so I'm going to take advantage of it.
Makes sense.
And
Yeah.
And are you still seeing a lot of properties with multiple offers coming in?
Oh my gosh.
Above asking too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The properties are going nuts. It's amazing to go in and I put in an offer a week and a half ago for a family member, and they had 22 offers on the same
22
house.
Wow.
Yeah. And we went
First
in,
weekend.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
We went 5% over ask price,
Yeah.
and we didn't even come close.
Yeah.
It didn't come close. So we're finding that, it's a tremendous seller's market right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
If there ever was one, today.
This is it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but today this is where we're at. But these numbers are great. Really
They're
happy
great
to
numbers.
report these, So just really quickly to summarize it, for my opinion is we have super low inventory.
Yeah.
There's no brainer there. We just
Right.
saw the numbers. The list prices in Andover are the same level as they were in 2019. And in North Andover, they're up about 7%. So a lot of folks, they're thinking that this pandemic is hurting our real estate market. It's all a ratio between supply and demand.
Right.
Yep.
And the demand is there. So we need supply. And there it is. That was my next thing. Demand is high. So the buyers are out there. Like we said, the unemployment has only gone about 20%. So
Right.
that's a lot. We obviously know
That's
that.
huge.
But we also know that that's very temporary. It's not going to stay. It'll probably settle much higher than it was previously,
Right.
but it's not going to stay 20%.
No.
And it might even go a little higher. I think I heard it might go closer to 25%.
Might go a little bit higher, I think, from what I'm reading, what I understand, in the next few weeks to a month.
Yeah.
But then I think it should get back in the single digits.
Single digit.
You know,
Yeah.
and once
Oh, I
once
agree.
everyone can go back to work and
Yeah.
things normalize a bit.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Homes are going under agreement fast. I didn't put the data up here, but I believe in between Andover and North Andover, we're seeing average days on market are just under 2 weeks. 12,
That's insane.
12 points
That's
a day.
insane.
Yeah.
It is.
12
days.
It is. But the key thing here is, right, let's not get crazy.
Right.
Right? You got to price it fair
Yep.
Right.
for what the market is. You want to be on the stronger side of fair? Fine.
Right.
Let's be on the stronger side of fair. We're coming in with the market analysis tells you got to be at 735 and you want to try 750 or something like that. It's a great shot. I would take it.
Right.
And see how the market reacts. Sure, do it. But you have to be realistic. You can't come in with a market analysis on a house at 600,000 and list it at 725.
Right.
The buyers aren't silly.
Right.
They
They know.
They
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Everybody's educated. This internet's been wonderful.
Wonderful.
Self-education.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. And buyers are seeking opportunity. So people misunderstand what that really means. Opportunity doesn't mean that somebody's really looking to beat you up. The buyers, until they see this presentation, the buyers think that the sellers are having a hard time selling because of COVID. So they're thinking there's opportunity, that they're not going to be up against 20 other offers. They're thinking there's going to be opportunity where they're going to go in and see a house that other people haven't gone to see. Unfortunately, it's not accurate, but that's their mentality. They're like, oh, well, let's go see that house. There's probably nobody there. So they're opportunistic. So they're still out there. They
Right.
still want to give it a go.
Which is great.
It's
You got to give it a go.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. You got to give it a go, without a doubt. So, looking here, that's me. I'm Stefan Kufos with Coker Early Associates. But I'm going to switch over now to Miss Christine Bernardini here.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that you might be able to tell us a little bit. There are some forms now that we're using, something extra that we didn't use before, on the buyer, the seller, and, what are you seeing from your end?
We're seeing a lot of new legal forms because of COVID-19. We're seeing them from lenders. We're seeing them from real estate associations. We're getting them from the real estate bar associations, suggesting us how to go about best protecting the clients, because we don't know if certain things are going to happen. We don't know if a lender is not going to be able to fund a purchase the day of closing because perhaps that buyer is now unemployed at the last minute, not knowing. We don't know if the registry of deeds are going to shut down and stop accepting documents. And what happens if we have a person who's selling in order to buy the same day, and one registry of deeds shuts down and the other registry stays open. So there's been a lot of new education we've had to do in this industry over the past few months. We've seen a lot of changes with title insurance expanding to offer gap protection, which will help the lenders continue to finance in the event that registries do get shut down. So that we can kind of keep some sort of sense of normalcy and not have people homeless or have a sale fall through because of a registry of deeds being closed. So that's been very helpful in a few cases. We've had added language in our Massachusetts purchase and sale agreements to help protect against situations if your COVID hits your household and you're quarantined and you can't physically go to a closing because you're stuck in the house.
Sure.
So there's extra language we've added in our contracts for that protect both the buyers and sellers. Same thing, again, going back to Massachusetts, we've had a lot of cities and towns stop doing smoke inspections because they don't want to enter the houses either. So we have extra language in there to help protect the parties. There is an emergency order that's in place, which now puts the incumbency of getting the smoke certificate onto the buyer. But a buyer doesn't know when those smoke detectors were.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they're like, what do you mean I have to?
Right.
If I hand them, here's what you have to do. 90 days after this emergency order is gone, you have to have your smoke detectors inspected. Well, what happens if they all fail? What happens if the owners own the house for 50 years and they haven't been updated? So there's a lot of new negotiation going on in these purchase and sale agreements, and so we're doing our best to make sure that everybody's educated as best as possible.
Right. They're challenging times.
Yeah.
And we don't know as real estate agents, we see the emails go through, hey, do you know what's going on in this town or know what's going on in that town?
Yeah.
It's even hard to get through to people. And you don't want to call 911.
No. No.
So, and they're all busy in their own sense, So what are you going to do? So awesome. So have you? So you definitely suggest making sure that obviously I know you do because of how professional you handle yourself, but we always have to have COVID language on all our deals right now.
Yeah, and I've seen them. I know the New Hampshire Association have also introduced a form because I've seen those come in on my New Hampshire purchases as well. So definitely have the language in on offers on both representing buyers and sellers because it's the best to protect you. The other thing I would also try to educate parties on is this whole idea of remote notary.
Right.
Remote notary is not a federal passage yet. So we have a Remote Notary Act in New Hampshire that was passed very quickly when COVID hit.
Yep.
Massachusetts took a long time to pass theirs, but there is a temporary remote notary. But right now, not one lender that I've worked with has allowed for remote notary to happen. It's not an automatic thing, so I know people are very scared and want to maintain social distances. So what we're doing, at least in our office, is we are keeping the parties separate for closing. So we'll meet with buyers at one time, sellers at a separate time. We'll even meet with them outside in the parking lot if that's what they prefer to do, if they don't want to enter the building, to try to minimize that exposure and contact. So a lot of questions we get are, well, can't we just do this remotely? We saw something pass, and unfortunately, to date, I have not been able to do one. I have not been approved by one lender to do one yet. That may change, but as of right now, no.
It's like people think that when that remote notarization came out, everyone could just sign remotely and it would be no problem.
Yeah.
And it's not really like that. All lenders have different requirements. Some have different systems. Some of them I've seen, you have to use like a lender-specific title company in order to be able to even do it. So it's definitely different for everyone. Have you seen the same thing?
Yeah,
on
the
your
New
end?
Hampshire standard had a lot of requirements in there about documentation of the person. So if I was coming to a closing and I knew Stefan, so
Yep.
we were doing this remotely, I could just say, hey, Stefan, hold up your ID, and that's fine. If I'm coming into the closing and, Stefan's bringing you the buyer who I've never met before,
Yep.
I would have had to do like a triple check process on who you were and invest in another company to get me documentation to show that you are who you say you are, not just accept the fact that you can show me two forms of identification.
Right.
So it was a really high standard. Massachusetts was a little different, where they allow you to be able to do it like via Zoom, and I
Sure.
send you the package ahead of time, and we Zoom, and there's a whole big speech I have to give, and
Yep.
you have to respond to me, and then after that, you send it back to me, and then once I get the package back, we have to Zoom again. So it's not over then.
Even once you get it back?
I have to say,
That's crazy.
this is your signature, and so it
Yeah.
is and that's why the lenders, like, there's just too many different standards among the states right now.
Yep.
And I really feel like that's why a lot of lenders aren't on board with allowing it to happen.
Right.
So.
Well, because a lot of these lenders are national lenders, so they
Right.
couldn't customize it for
course.
50 different states.
Yeah,
Right.
it's too
But-
hard. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's been challenging in that there's been many different changes, and it's like they've almost been weekly.
Right.
From our end on the lending side, well, a couple good things have happened. Rates are way down, so
great.
that's
Yes, they are.
that's a great thing. Refinancing is great, and then even buying power.
Yeah.
I think you threw out some numbers before when we were talking beforehand. If someone was going to be purchasing a house, what was the number you used? Because it was spot on.
It was 500,000.
Yeah.
The rates have dropped where for the same monthly rate, monthly payment, you get 570.
Right, so another $70,000 worth of house for the same payment because the rates are close to a point lower, in some cases even more. The rates are incredibly low, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But a couple things to kind of put out there to everyone, just so you know and you're aware. Everything isn't the same as it was before.
No.
Where we need to do verifications of employment the day of closing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
Because if you can't get through to the supervisor or the boss or the HR person, especially where everyone's working remotely,
Right.
to confirm someone's income, the day of closing they're still fully employed, we can't close.
Amazing.
So-
I had a delay yesterday
Yeah.
because they required it the day of funding. It was a refinance. They could not get the verification. They did one before closing.
Yep.
They also required one the day of funding.
Yep.
And we didn't get to record because they couldn't verify the person was still employed. They
That's-
verified this morning, but we were supposed to fund yesterday.
Yeah, that's happening with almost all
sure.
lenders. Good news is we work with a very large national wholesale lender, and they just removed that rule this afternoon.
Oh, that's
Yep.
awesome.
For re-verification of funding
Yeah.
on a refinance, which makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
If anybody is out on furlough or out of work, can't use any of the unemployment income or any temporary income for people to qualify, so they will need to be back to work, which is tough in some cases. But that is the rule, and that's the rule for pretty much everyone. So just know that if you are in the market to buy,
Sure.
you need to be back and fully employed. Even if you're receiving, because I've seen this quite a bit, some folks will call up and say, you know what, I'm still receiving close to my full pay, but part of it will be PPP pay.
Oh.
That if there's any
don't
PPP
accept
pay,
that. Mhm.
you can't use that.
Okay.
So just things for people to keep in mind. We are seeing guidelines already open back up over the last couple weeks,
Yeah.
which is great because early on in the first month, 6 weeks, credit tightened up so tight. You still can't do a jumbo loan right now.
Right.
Yeah, you can't. They're out of the market.
Yeah.
And that's largely, in fact, due because all that was private money.
Right.
So they all backed out.
Interesting.
Same as non-QM loans are really anything outside of the box, not non-Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac type of loans.
Sure.
They're gone right now as well. But I think they'll be coming back.
They'll come back.
Everything will be.
Of course.
And I don't think we're far from it coming back.
Right.
I think a few weeks.
Right.
Everyone will start getting into the market and opening back up. So I think kind of the summary here is that things are looking good, even though the everything that's going on in the public with COVID and people getting sick and not being well is terrible. The real estate market is still in good shape.
No, I think we're looking good. Without a doubt. I mean,
Yeah.
we have the attorneys making sure the contracts are all written properly, keep everybody on the same page, see everything to the closing. the realtors, we're doing what we need to do, show the houses, expose them the right way. And then Mike's got the pulse on the lending and making sure that we're doing the right things to get the loans to the closing table. So that's it. I think all in all, we're in good shape. I think we're going to get through this. The reality is, I believe we're probably going to end up doing about 12 months worth of real estate in about 8 months worth of time.
Oh, probably, yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's where we're at.
I think the second half of the year is going to be crazy, which is a good thing for everyone, and that means the economy is still doing well and people are getting back to work. So, great job with this stuff, and this is a great presentation.
Thanks. I mean, people have been asking, and I know they're asking all three of us what's going on. I just thought, it'd be great. I mean, I primarily do all of Massachusetts and New Hampshire. I know you do as well. I don't know if you do any other states.
I do Mass, New Hampshire, and Maine.
And I know you do Mass, New Hampshire, and Maine as well.
I do as well.
Yeah.
So there you go. I mean, if anybody has any questions, just call any one of us. We're happy to help you out any way we can.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you.
you.
Great.
Bye.